Oh, yes. Hey guys, you know, I'm just going to probably do a little attempt at telling you guys what's been going on because I don't really know how much pizzazz I've got left at the moment. The thing is, I have come to the agreement with my dad that we weren't going to do this anymore. Or at least I said to him, I can't do this anymore. So it's over. And I don't like it, but it's a lot more quiet than it was. And I'm having a really hard time figuring it all out. I haven't even journaled or any of it previously to, coming on here. And I'm not really sure how it's going to go during the week. I will get, through this, but it just feels I lost something, and because the price that I was paying was on the high side for me. And a couple of you guys' comments also told me that I needed to use my brain. I needed to, you're in something and you're in a conversation that you haven't had ever, and it's really valuable, and there's all sorts of things coming out of it and all sorts of things that are really important. And it's been 2 whole months, it looks like, it turns out. I hadn't realized that, but I looked it up in my journal, and it turns out it has been 2 whole months that I've spoken to him. So it wasn't like 5 or 6 conversations. It was a lot more than that. And I have learned a lot, which I will try to also sort of, sum up at some point. I'm not quite sure whether I want to do that now, because I'm basically trying to reassess what it's all, what's happened really. And I know that part of me basically doesn't even want to think about it anymore. Part of me wants to go to the Costa del Sol and lie there on the beach and forget about everything. Really. So, yeah. Another part of me wants to know what it's all been good for. I have gathered an enormous amount of information, practical information, like we lived there for this period of time or for that period of time, and these things happened, and these were some types of interactions between my parents back in the day. All that's really useful. There's a second level of information that I've gathered where it's more like I can see now how it was that my mum couldn't deal with this, and it's basically the same way for me. So this is kind of, I'm not her, and I haven't really had her life at all in any way. She's been gone for a quarter of a century. So there's that, So still, there's things, and what with actually seeing that there just wasn't enough of an exchange between us on the personal level, I think. And that's just a given, right? It's just something that just couldn't happen anymore. And I care about him. So I realized, certainly one of the most important things for me during the past 2 months is that I realized that I care about this person who is my dad a lot. Only it's a bit, I've said to husband, it's a bit like caring about a tiger, You don't want to go inside the cage with him, because if I'd grown up with him, it would have been different, maybe. I don't know. Whichever way that turns, At the moment, I feel like my nerves are shot. I feel like I've been completely wrung out by my own emotional upheavals, basically. And it's done. The thing is done. I can let it go now. We said goodbye in a really decent manner. We didn't really say goodbye like forever even. I said I want to call you up, once or twice a year just to say just to ask him how you're doing or something like that. And he was fine. And it was a really, really rational, positive and polite from both sides way of finishing this process up for now. So there's that. I'm actually rather proud of that. Although I also feel like it's the only way to go forward, really. You cannot continue to, vent things on people, and it's not helping. So I think that a lot of and that's maybe also something that's applicable for other people quite a bit, is that you can really care about someone or even feel close or feel like you're related to this person or feel like you're connected to a person. That doesn't necessarily mean always that you can spend a whole lot of time together. Because that's kind of what happened with my dad and me, I think. Maybe in it just basically the logistics of us talking involved, for the first half hour it was fine, and then after that it would get difficult, and there would be like things where I felt like he didn't understand me, or he didn't know what I wanted, or he didn't really, I don't know, see who I am or see what I want, or things like that. And I don't want to put any blame on him afterwards, or now, because he hasn't had a chance to really know me, and whatever, let's just leave it. But so the dosage in a relationship can be really important. And I think this is a really important, little element in how we look at our relationships with people, is really, you can feel like crazy attracted to somebody, or like like there's this intense interaction or chemistry or what have you between two people. But the logistics of human interaction beyond the first, half hour, that's really, then you have to have much more solidity to, like, shared interests and common, common traits, really, and basically ideas that are about life and things that you can do together. And if that's not the case, that's basically what happens, I think, with me and my dad, is that we don't have that shared ground. We don't have common ground, really. So it looks like we've got common ground because we share a past, we share some part of history. We share genes, certainly. There's a couple of interests and things that we share, basically in literature and things like that, and language. But the way we go about things are really different, and that just didn't jive anymore. So I'm really glad I did it. I'm really glad that I can finally sit here and talk to you guys again. And he's probably out there, but maybe he won't even watch me anymore now. I don't know. Or he will. It's his choice very much, And all I can do is basically keep that in the back of my mind to some extent, to the extent that I'm ever, this is going to be a theme for a while that will come back on and off. And so what I want is to be honest, to be authentic, and to, if there's things going on, to, as I discover them, as I've always done, right? To just share that with you guys. And it'll have to do that way. And it's so complicated. It's become this, like I said, I'm too lazy. It's not that I'm necessarily a lazy person so much as there's this intensity that I just can't deal with. Okay, so I've gone into that quite a bit already, and I'm sad, yes, because I lost this connection again, or had to make myself leave it. And like I said, I understand way better why my mum couldn't cope with this, because of course she was around him 24/7. So I have a lot more understanding, not only for my parents as such, but also for, what marriage does, really. It can be really bad when people are stuck together 24/7, right? Stuck in the same place. And what comes out then? Ooh, wow, So there's that. And there's, other than that, like I said, there's been quite a bit of information. I used to think we lived in Geneva in Switzerland when I was 4 years old, in a total for about 4 years, maybe 3 years, I don't know, in total. And I used to think that it was a longer time in one of the two sets of apartments. Turns out that was only like 5 months that we lived in this high-rise, a really tall high-rise apartment. My mum hated it there, I remember. And then we moved to a really luxurious apartment with a magnificent view over the Geneva Lake and the Mont Blanc mountain over the other side. And that's one of my foremost gorgeous memories from the start of my life, really. This view on the mountain like that. And I used to draw, like a whitish mountain peak in between two other mountains, like sitting like that, like that. Always, when I was drawing mountains, that's what it would look like. And it took me an age and a half to figure out that it was that memory that I was drawing. So that's kind of a thing is, to me, that's really cool to be realizing that. So this is actually turning out to be tiny bit more of a check-in and a chat than I was feared because I really didn't know how to start at first. I don't know if you could tell, but I was really it's too much, it's blocked inside. And talking about things helps. Husband has helped me enormously, supported me the whole time through the weekend. It was Saturday morning that I rang up my dad and I said, look here, I'm gonna end this here. And then afterwards I called husband and I bawled at him in the phone because of being so relieved also. And it's such a double-edged sword because anyway, it's done. It's over. Okay? And what else can I say? I have got to, I think, do a bit more journaling at some point soon. I have got to go outside and walk. Yesterday we visited with a few people. That was really nice. We had dinner with them at their place. And they're from Syria, so we had loads to talk about. And it was actually rather fun, although I felt like I was flatlining the whole time inside. And by the time I slept like a log. I'm okay, really. Physically, I'm completely okay. I decided to wear this dress that I'm going to show you. Hang on a second. It's like a really old. Worn it on a pair of pants, like a shirt more because it's really short. This is something that my mum actually made. Let me see if I can show that to you. You can see the gorgeous. That's actually crochet work with beads and golden thread in there. And she made this in somewhere in the early 70s. and she attached a large piece of fabric at the bottom so it would be like a really long dress, and that's not practical for me. And it turns out also that I have grown a bit more, sturdy in the chest area and the shoulder area myself, so I will need to take it out under the armpits, and it's gonna be a bit more of a intellectual exercise to get that done properly. I believe she actually bought the dress as was, so this fabric, right, without any of the trimmings. She made all those trimmings. So for me, wearing this dress or this garment, it's all along the sleeves as well. See, yesterday was probably more than I really felt like realizing a tribute to my mum. Can you please just give me, hang on guys, I'm gonna try and shift you inward a bit more, so because the sun is just giving all that shine, so a bit more of a tribute, to my mum and what she had gone through and the way she has gone through it. And even though she didn't survive, she didn't make it, and to some extent I am not like her, like I said just now. She's not like me, but I wouldn't have made it either. And that's what she was afraid of. That's why she wanted the divorce in the first place. So all those things are difficult and painful, and I have to still, understand all the dimensions, and a lot of it is making a lot more sense nowadays. I haven't really gotten to the bottom of why my dad goes like this in the proximity. Maybe it's just a moon in Cancer thing, or the moon is actually on the apogee with Pluto there, which is what my mum had as also. My mum, her moon, her actual lunar position was in Leo, but Pluto in both their cases is on the black moon. And I'm not really sure, was it 9 years that the apogee takes to go around through all the signs? Something like that. So it would have been in whichever earlier part of 1934, Pluto certainly would have been on the apogee, on the lunar, on the black moon position, right? That will not have helped for either of them. And for me, my black moon is in Pisces, in a trine to that position, and there's loads of other aspects in conjunction. There's this huge, if you put all our charts together, so my two parents' charts and mine, there's this huge water element triangle that just is going back and forth the whole time. So it's emotional, yeah. And my moon isn't directly involved. My moon's in Aries. But there's Venus and Mars and Jupiter and Neptune that are involved for me. Too much stuff. Too many perspectives. Too much stuff going on at the same time. And I feel like I do need some space now to process this properly and do some cards and do some journaling and to put it to sort of, and I will, in the end, I will let it go. There's this, I used over the past 6 weeks or so, I drew a card 6 weeks ago that was from my own Rose Oracle cards, and it says, Trust Unknown. And it says at the top, it says Shani, which is the Latin name, the Sanskrit name for Saturn. And this is a dream I once had where there was this huge black planet. And it wasn't scary at all. It was really peaceful and sheltered feeling in the dream. And I pulled this card through to sort of keep me company throughout the whole process. And now that the process in actual fact is ended. The discussions are ended, you know, and the way we were doing this has ended. Doesn't mean that the process is ended for either of us, I think, but especially for me, because this is where I am, okay? So this is what I can look at. And so that's why I've still got this card out. And trust unknown, it means each time a lot of my past experiences over the past year or two or so has been all about expanding my boundaries in a way, also in ways that hurt and scared me and all that, you know, with the Tektite, with you name it. There are lots of things that I've done with the Shakti energy work. All that is basically just allowed me to, you know, there's like what we say in Dutch is you have, in the old ways you used to have like border markers, like a stone, like a pillar, smallish pillar that stood at the national border of your country, and there's still some around. They're old, and I think they're 18th or early 19th century. Sometimes you can still find them. And they have like markings or writing carved on both sides. On the one side is, for example, the Netherlands, and the other side will be Germany. I've seen some of those. Or in the southern border, where we border on Belgium, there's a few of those as well, I think. They're not all over the place, because many, of course, have been taken out. Why I'm saying this is that in my image, it's like pushing out your border posts constantly. So you decided that this was as far as you were going to go comfortably or in your life. And then you have to change your mind. You are made to change your mind. And that's hard, and it hurts, and it's difficult, and it takes a bit of time to, you know, to process. So maybe this coming week I will not be on YouTube as much. I can't tell at this point. I thought I just might as well tell you guys I do intend to take a bit of a holiday. Maybe I'm back Wednesday or Thursday, you know, something like that. It's quite likely, because I tend to at some point go like, oh, what the hell, just you know, whatever. Only I don't feel really completely in that state yet. And I need to take a bit of time, you know, for this to just simmer down and for me to be able to think of other things. So I'm okay. And thank you so much for, you know, being invested in this. And you don't have to be. And that's why this is wonderful. And I'm enjoying my book about alchemy and mysticism a lot. I've started reading it, and I've already learned a couple of tidbits and things about the origins of the way people tended to look at intuition and at what we call paranormal experiences or clairvoyance or things like that. The way they used to look at those things in the old days. So there's gorgeous pictures, and I'm enjoying myself hugely with that. I will spend at least an hour and a bit during the afternoon reading. So not the dress yet, I'm afraid, because, you know, taking in information is something I can more or less always do. I'm just very pooped. I'm looking after myself. I'm having my veg. I'm having my fruit juice. And I will, you know, go out, walk a bit, and I will sleep, and it will all pass. And yeah, like I said, I'm proud, and I'm content that I didn't fight him, and I didn't snarl at him, you know, because he doesn't deserve that from me either. So there you go. Thank you for watching, and I will be back later this week. And at least to keep you posted, okay? Thank you for watching, you guys. See you then. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.